And you are my friends. Is Sam Morsey about to leave Ipswich Town FC? Can Burgess offered new terms and an ITFC retain list has been announced. We've got all of that and more this evening. Join us live for Talking Town. Of course, there is a live chat. Please get active. And as always, we'll catch you on the other side. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends. Welcome in. And you know when you have an idea, Matt, before you go live, and your brain tells you this is how it's going to go. This, you know, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then the live button comes up, and your brain just sort of says, "See you later, mate. You're on your own."
Got other ideas.
Absolutely. But there's lots going on this week. Sam Morsey, could he be heading for the exit door at Portman Road? We've got Liam Delap. Has he joined Chelsea yet? Has he not joined Chelsea yet? The saga that rumbles on. Oh, that's all gone quiet. So it's probably about to be announced any moment soon. You've got Cam Burgess offered new deal. You've got an ITFC retain list. It's all gone on since we did our goalkeepers and defenders, Matt.
I did like some of the comments where people going, why weren't we discussing midfielders? Watch the whole show. That's coming. That's Friday. Yeah, that's coming this week. But it is all going on. And lots of people in the chat here. Lynn Phillips, good to hear my husband had a 3-hour back operation today. Big shout out to the Phillips family. We're not related, but shout out to the Phillips anyway.
I know the feeling, Lynn. I've had a few of those myself, so wish him nothing but the best. I hope he soon recovers. So yeah, all the best there, Lynn. But yeah, look, let's start with the big news, right? Late last night. In fact, it was so late, I was getting ready to go to bed. It was 9:30, right? It's 9:30. Come on.
That's early for going to bed in my book, but never mind.
Not with 2 kids under 5, it ain't.
No, that's true. Yeah, my sympathy. Yeah, that is true.
Sleep, what is it? And yeah, we had a tweet announced or released in regards to Sam Morsey and possibly linking him away from Ipswich Town FC on a free. Those were the words mentioned. You know, would be available on a free or could be a free or whatever it was. And my initial thoughts were mixed. I'm not quite sure I want to see him leave, but then I do want 2 midfield players, and I'm like. And I did a reaction piece for our shorts on the channel. And you kind of saw that in the reaction piece, Matt. I was very much torn. You've had some time to think about it and process it now. Where are you on it?
Yeah, I don't want Sam Morsey leaving, but, you know, if the rumour is that he would go to Saudi Arabia, which is obviously a chance to make some money, the cheddar in Jeddah, we like to call him, Martin. Yeah. So if he gets that opportunity, I mean, look, he's going to be 34 in September, isn't he? Mm-hmm. You know, these opportunities, like we said in the show the other day, you know, when we thought Wolverhampton got linked to Inter Miami to go and play with Messi and earn some money, it's kind of an opportunity that's too good to turn down. And probably for Sam Morsey to go to Saudi Arabia in the twilight of his career, knowing the money that's floating around there, it's a chance to set yourself up for life. I mean, I imagine he's well off playing for Ipswich anyway, but a chance to even go a level above that to go into to Saudi Arabia. So if it does happen, then good luck to him. But I mean, look, I'd be a bit gutted if he was to leave because I feel like, you know, the back-to-back captain, Hall of Famer. I mean, it's guaranteed he's going to be a Hall of Fame in the Ipswich Town Hall of Fame, isn't he? Having captained us through that golden period under McKenna. You know, he deserves some, like a Luongo style farewell. But I mean, but then part of me sometimes thinks, oh, farewell should be sudden. You don't get so misty-eyed then, do you know what I mean? But I mean, you think about how we were treading water under Evans and everything, and then Paul Cook brings him in and comes in 2021. Who would have thought by August 2024 he'd be captaining Ipswich Town in the Premier League? I mean, it was things that dreams are made of. And we did say, didn't we, when he signed on that deadline day, I remember it was a Friday night or whatever, when we were doing the show with Crunch, and we were like, just had a feeling this guy could go into Ipswich folklore, didn't we? Could this be another Matt Holland style signing? There's got to be a reason Paul Cook wanted him and to get him to drop down into League One. Proof was in the pudding.
Banger after banger. DNB, says, I think Sam will stay, but we're sending a big overhaul in the summer. We've got Colin who says, great club man, Morsey. Absolutely. Mustard Miller, I think that's Nick Muller. Cannot let Morsey leave.
He's changed his name. He's changed his name as if by deed poll. Please let that be true.
Mustard Muller, absolutely great name. Look, when it was announced, I was on our Discord server, the Talking Town Discord server, and that was going wild with you know, one set of opinions and then other set of opinions, and it was very much sort of a split. Social media, I had a little peek around the door there, and that felt a little bit of a split happening. And you know, I just thought and I said this on the shore, expectation-filled season, potentially a lot of upheaval next year in terms of players in and out. You know, McKenna's right-hand man has been Sam Morsey. He is his mouthpiece on the football field. Now, I didn't really want, I want 2 new midfield players. Sam Morsey for me is a new player off the bench, closing stages of the game, seeing games out, starting when you've got a 3-game week, because you can still do a job, but you are eventually planning for that succession to happen. It is his last year of his contract. And I, in my mind, saw him, being that mouthpiece, being that figure around Playford Road, doing all of those things. And then at the end of the year, and this is just a fan in me speaking, potentially lifting silverware. What a great big send-off. Very, mass style this season, but bigger, and he can go with everyone's, best wishes. And he's left us going back into the Premier League. That's the fan in me speaking, obviously, but that's how
I agree with you. Yeah, that's how I see it as well. He could play kind of a Luongo role, couldn't he, next season, in terms of still being club captain, and maybe team captain would go to O'Shea if he was, on the field, if he was still with us. I mean, we'll have to wait and see when we get to that point, don't we? But yeah, I would totally agree with you. I mean, I still think, even though it's been such a disappointing season for us, and we've been a bit tongue-in-cheek with some of the stats, haven't we? But I mean, still Morsey's stacks, Martin, with some of his stuff. I mean, he's in the top 15% for midfielders in the Premier League for successful passes, accurate long balls, dribble success, recoveries, tackles won, top 20%, interceptions.
Chance creation.
Kuste was very good as well. He was leading our chance creation, I think, along with Leaf. I need to do a bit of a deeper dive into that one. So I think he had a bit of an under the radar season, really. What I will caveat that with, though, I think that was in the first half of the season. He certainly does tail off, I think, round, well, I keep saying it, probably that Man United game late November onwards. I feel the whole teams it tails off, doesn't it? After Fulham in January at Craven Cottage. So I think a lot of these good stats, I think, were early doors. But look, cutting some slack. I mean, he was bordering on journeyman territory, really, wasn't he?
Yeah.
If you look at some of the clubs he had played for, like, I don't know, Port Vale, Chesterfield, Barnsley on loan, Wigan. He'd only really floated around the Championship and the Championship, and then he comes in with us, and suddenly he's playing in the Premier League. I mean, that's a huge tick in the box for his mindset, and obviously McKenna's management as well, and the momentum you get as part of those double winning promotions. So he's had a brilliant season. He's had a brilliant career. What's he played for Egypt? 9 or 10 games? Yeah. I mean, stuff for dreams, isn't it? So, I mean, playing alongside Salah. So, if he does go, then fair play. I think 165 appearances calling to transfer market, 10 goals, 19 assists. I don't think he's ever done more than 4 years at a club. So, I mean, he's already in that territory with us. I think he's had one more appearance for us than he had at Wigan. So, who knows? But, I mean, I hope he hangs around. But certainly, if you've been watching Talking Town through the season, I know we've been playing in the Premier League, but certainly there's been question marks around the midfield. But like I say, Morsey can't do it all on his own. He's got some very good stats here. But maybe the time is right for 2 midfielders. We keep saying, don't we? 2 midfielders that can get you promoted and go on and do something in the Premier League. Because I don't see how Ipswich come back stronger, as we keep saying, if you going to keep wiping the slate clean and spend another 100 million. Look what that done for us. Got us less points and less goals than what Luton did on a spend of 20-30 million.
Yeah. Gavler Racing asks, top 1% for yellow cards? with a laughy cry emoji face. Paul P says, no room for sentiment. That whole midfield needs replacement. Look, Paul, you ain't going to find anyone disagrees with you, particularly sat in this chair here. I completely agree with you. But I just thought, and of course, it's just a link at this stage. Nothing is set and nothing is happening 100%. But I just thought, and I do still think, there was a role to play for him this year, particularly when you're talking about, laying the benchmark, setting the culture of the football club. This is what McKenna wants. This is what McKenna expects. This is what we do at this football club. This is the best practices. This is the excellence that we strive for. With what could be an upheaval of some, people are saying there could be as many as 6 to 9 players. Depends who you obviously talk to, who your friends are. Some are saying there's sort of a mass exodus of players, and others are saying there'll be a few. But if it is an upheaval summer, maybe you still do want that captain. And the word finally, before we sort of go on to a player that could still be here, not that Sam Morsey won't be, but in terms of a contract being offered, before we do, the word free still sort of strikes me as surprising. I wasn't expecting it in the link. you know, in the sense of he's got a year left. Mark
What
Ashton.
What would you pay though? What would you pay if you was a club looking at Morsey? And you had to pay
Earlier in the day, I've got people telling me we've signed Elkan Baggott for that 1 year deal to sell him. So he's telling me
we were debating this, weren't we?
You know, wheeling dealing in the transfer market to get what, 100 grand for Elkan Baggott, 500 grand, 500 grand.
That's what we came up with, didn't we? Elkan Baggott would be about 100.
He's captain. He's club captain. 1 year left. Hasn't really missed a game. He's been available to be selected. Oh, nah, you can just walk. You know, you can walk. No, I just the word for it surprised me. Still does. I'll be honest.
True, but I mean, look, we Ipswich have done all right on free transfers before. I mean, look, Ben Johnson came out of the Premier League as a well, stayed in the Premier League with us, but he's now dropping down into the Championship. We was wondering what he would cost as a fee. I mean, if you were going to, it would be a token fee in the last year you contract if Morsey was to go, wouldn't it? If you were paying a fee, probably about 300 grand, I would have thought.
Hey,
I mean,
fee's a fee. Fee's a fee.
We got Christian Walton for what, 80 to 100 grand, I think, when he signed. We were talking about $1 million, weren't we? When he was in League One trying to buy him. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, the post-Morsey era, if it was to happen, would be a very. Oh, look, that is coming. I mean, it's not. He's 34, as I said earlier, in September, so that is coming. But such a hard person to replace in the team, be it like you say, on and off the pitch. On and off the pitch, that's such a huge miss, isn't it? It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, I do wonder about the legitimacy of these links when you do get online journalists talking about this. I think it is someone from Team Talk, which is, you know, been around years, isn't it?
Fraser Fletcher, who is the football correspondent for Team Talk, and the tweet just simply said, and I'll read it out for you now in case you're catching up with us live. Exclusive: Ipswich Town captain Sam Morsey could leave the club this summer and is allowed to go for free. ITFC club captain looking at options and keen on Middle East move. That's the tweet. So
it's interesting. I would like to think East Anglian Daily Times would have a sniff around this. You would have thought, given that Morsey's been at the club a long time. But on the opposite side of that coin, sometimes out of respect for the player and the deal and everything,
absolutely,
they might be keeping their powder dry. So I mean, you know, that's another way of looking at it as well. But watch this space. I mean, it's certainly come out of left field. But I mean, look, ITFC Beard in the Discord did float this in April. You may recall, because he reminded us of it today. So I mean, well,
there was rumours also to go back a year, wasn't there? There was conversations of that you know, Morsey could be looking, or they're, you know, linking Morsey to a move to the Middle East. I'm sure last summer or the summer before.
Well, maybe. You want to give him a Jim Magilton style send off. As it transpired, right. Jim Magilton returned later that summer as manager, didn't he? But when we did actually say goodbye to him, and he warrants that. Absolutely. I mean, he's captained us in a huge part of our history. Took us out of the dead men in League One and into the Premier League. So I mean, that will be recognised in the Hall of Fame. But you want to do something in front of 30,000 fans is what you want, really, in an ideal world. But of course, football doesn't always end in fairy tales, does it? So we'll have to wait and see.
Gavilar has been a great. Sam Morsey, that has been a great servant for the club. We'll be grateful to have around next year, on and off the pitch, but he can make more money elsewhere. I don't think anyone would deny him that. Absolutely not. Gavilar, great comment. Thanks for leaving it. And Paul P says, even clubs from Saudi Arabia are not going to pay much money for a 34-year-old Gav. Morsey has earned a free if he wants it. Well, yeah, absolutely. That is particularly one way of looking at it. Another way of not looking at it, of that situation, of the next situation we're going to talk about, is Cameron Burgess. Now, our goalkeepers and defenders show, we did just go on. If you've not seen it yet, jump back, have a look. We were split on the show. I wasn't quite sure if I would offer a new contract. You wanted to offer a new contract. The club have offered a new contract. Whether that's because my thinking was, I don't know if it's going to be a 1 year or a 2 year or 3 year, or what the player would like.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant about, you know, offering that deal. They've offered him one. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two ways of looking at this, really. I mean, obviously they see the value in Cameron Burgess, as we said on that very show you just referenced. You know, for me, had he played more games, he could have been in the running and played like he had done. I keep saying the Bournemouth game, don't I? He could have been in the running for Player of the Year, but we'll never know. But he's got options as well. I mean, again, he's like Morsey. We said it in that show Friday, bordering on journeyman territory. I mean, he was like Ross County, started his career at Fulham. He's gone Ross County. He's gone Salford. He's at Accrington Stanley. He's at Oldham. Oh, he's doing a right tour, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
Northwest. And then, again, Paul Cook sees value, brings him to Ipswich. I didn't really see the value in him to begin with, but again, like Morsey, he has gone from League One into the Premier League, and I believe he didn't really look out of place. He's just unlucky that he was competing for a starting role with Greaves, who they've spent 15 million quid on plus. And as McKenna had said, didn't he? Jacob Greaves is someone that they think's got a really high ceiling and could play for England one day. I'm not sure I'm not sure McKenna said that, but certainly when we had the whole fan on.
Grandpa Joe was the whole fan that came on.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe. Yeah, he was saying that, and all the hype was around that. And you'll remember, we'll come to him in a minute. There was no real hype around Delap, was it? It was all about Greaves and could he end up playing for England this season? Well, we'll park that. But and then as you get towards the end of the season, you see Burgess starts getting linked with clubs like Girona in Spain that just narrowly avoided relegation, so they'll retain their top flight status in the Liga. So whether or not that option's still on the table for him, we'll have to wait and see. But I do get your thinking. I mean, it goes back to the midfield thinking, doesn't it? You don't really want older players going, if you do get promoted, going into the Premier League. You want people that have played 40 plus games or whatever and hit the ground running to go into the Premier League to prove themselves, to try and help us break that top 17 model at the moment.
While also giving your squad flexibility to have some spaces that you can bring additional, enforcements in. Obviously this was Mass's last year. He's played very rarely in truth. We signed that deal last in the championship. So he signed it.
Luongo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he starts the season, doesn't he, Luongo? Liverpool, Manchester City.
He does, but then
really?
That's
you didn't have Calvin at that point, did we? I don't think we had Phillips. Well, he'd just come in and he couldn't play against Man City, could he? As it transpires, I don't think Luongo. I think Luongo could have been just as good as Phillips across the season, but there we go. We don't know, do we? But certainly, I think Burgess. I mean, he would do. He would do a great job for us in the Championship. I've got no doubt about it. He's doing a good job for us in the Premier League. But it's whether or not he's going to play second fiddle to Greaves. You have to think he probably does, given what we just said
totally
about
agree. No one's upset, Matt, that he's been offered a deal. I haven't seen anybody, and I'm certainly not someone who's upset that he's been offered a new deal. He's proven it in the Championship when we were promoted. He's been one of our better defenders this year in the Premier League. But you equally, when you say he's been one of our better defenders in the Premier League, you have shipped a lot of goals. You have been relegated.
Yeah.
When you return, you either want your two centre halves to be further forward in their development, be that Greaves and O'Shea, or you want to be looking to say, right, okay, it didn't go to plan last time. Let's go and spend some big money or some money on a centre half. Now, if you've got a squad that's got players on 2 or 3 year deals, is there as much flexibility there to do that? That was my train of thought. I do
get that. And actually, would he actually say out loud, it makes sense to have, you want O'Shea and Greaves to be your two really moving forward, I think. I know they've had fairly good seasons as coming into the Premier League in a side that was destined for relegation, I suppose. But you'd like to think with a second bite of the apple in town shirts, if they were to make it back to the Premier League with us, they could build on that experience. And I suppose as well, we said it in the show Friday, didn't we? Burgess would probably be the third option out of those, wouldn't he? Really, along with Wolfenden, actually.
Other news of that retained list. Don't forget, if you also want to carry the conversation on any transfer news, on any topics about Ipswich Town FC, come and join us over on our Discord. Just become a YouTube member and you can cancel that at any point. That's $4.99, but you get a link and you can come and join what is a fun and active Discord that we fight, we kiss, we make up all in the same hours sometimes, just as any family and community does.
Depends who's been posting.
That's true. Hamish, if Tuanzebe and Burgess sign on again, it'll be a great boost for next season. I'm more confident on Tuanzebe stand. Obviously, Axel has also been offered terms. No surprise there. I'm, very similar to Cameron. You absolutely enjoy watching him play. This year when he did play, and obviously the year before in the Championship when he got promoted, another fantastic season from Axel.
Just needs to stay fit.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, sadly. But I mean, I'm sure the contract that he's been given will reflect that. So whether or not he feels like he can get a better deal somewhere else. But I mean, he had, when he came out of United or wherever he had left and trained with Luton, he didn't get the deal there, did he?
No.
But McKenna had known him from Man United anyway. So I mean, there's loyalty there as well, isn't
there? Dominic says, I hope Axel signs. Burgess not fast, especially after an offence this season. Need new blood. Marcus Harness, obviously, joined Massimo Longo and being released, and immediately found himself new employment with Huddersfield. Your thoughts on Marcus Harness leaving the football club, Matt?
Yeah. Well, Marcus Harness, if long-term viewers of the show back in League One will know that Marcus Harness used to be one of my first names on the team sheet. It was him, Chaplin, Ladapo. Those three weren't playing. Those threw my toys out. So he's had a good Town career. He's been part of that double promotion. He's got that on his CV now. And I think probably the Championship was probably his ceiling, which is why they loaned him out to Derby last season. And Huddersfield is a good move because, it's only about an hour or so between Derby and Huddersfield. So wherever he was living in the Midlands, he can probably carry on living there. So great. Lee Grant obviously sees the value in him, having worked with him previously. Probably not Lee Grant sees value in bringing Mark Hudson, who's a Huddersfield legend, Martin, with him into that backroom stuff. We'll have to wait and see. That'll speak volumes, won't it? I think it will. Do you know what I mean?
I hope it does.
Yeah.
Truly.
Question mark there. When we mentioned him earlier, does Luongo follow suit? He's probably got another season in him, and you would have thought at League One level he could go, and Lee Grant knows all about him. Go and do a job there for a season, and I don't know, maybe return it with Ipswich in the coaching staff, whatever. I don't know how it'll go. But no, so to answer the question, I'm not surprised Harness has gone there. I saw Harness play for Derby. I don't know if he had a great season with them, really. You've got to think, they were struggling, weren't they, in the relegation battle? But you've got to think Harness in League One should be a cut above. Hope so, for his sake. I like him. He's a good player.
Yeah, I think he will be a really good player for Huddersfield in League One. He's proved he can do it at that level, and he's proved he can do it at times at the Championship level. It was always for me going to be the outcome because you've got all things considered. People could leave, of course, but you've got Schmodix, Chaplin as your 2 10s. For me, he wasn't going to get past either of those. Should they both be there come August the 8th for me, Matt?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the depot's at Huddersfield as well, isn't he? Dom Dean saying Caden Jackson. You could see it all going on, couldn't you? It'd be very interesting though, but in all seriousness, because Mark Hudson's he's sort of seen as a club legend there, and he's been captain the side, and he's been promoted with them, and he's been caretaker boss there. So it'd be interesting to see if he does follow suit. We'll have to wait and see. We've been in the market for a new set piece coach, Martin. So that'd be a dream scenario for you, wouldn't it? Oh, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see.
We have one. Is that?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, apparently so.
Okay, news to me. Newsflash. So Marcus last year, total played 41, started 26, 4 goals for Derby, 3 assists, 4 big chances created.
So they probably would have wanted more from that. But again, he's in a struggling side, isn't it? I think it just stays. They stay up, Derby? I think they did, didn't they? It was Cardiff, Luton, and Plymouth, wasn't it? Got relegated. Yes, so we'll be playing them this coming season. But probably difficult for him to go in there and having been part of a promotion winning team from the Championship to go into one that's trying to stay in a division. But you've got to think it'd be a cut above, I think, in the League One. I would have thought. Yeah.
Well, you'd have thought, because in League One, for us, obviously, total played 40, started 21, 6 goals, 2 assists, 5 big chances created. So, certainly much better stats. We're not going to say much better, but slightly better stats in League One than. And of course, that really should, if it's the same season I'm thinking about, should reach 7 goals, because I still make out he was robbed of that goal at home to Barnsley.
Oh God, yeah, the one got chalked off, didn't it? Was it chalked off?
Yeah, it wasn't given.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, isn't it? Yeah, the 2-2. Was it 2-2?
Ref gave a foul. Said he pulled him back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I like how you still hold on to these grievances after all the success we've had.
I couldn't tell you. I hold on to grievances. Dominic Dean, thank you ever so much for your kind generosity. Gifted 5 Talking Town memberships. That's 5 people that can now come and join us in the Discord. Last sort of comment on the retain list, really, because there wasn't really that much else in it. Elkan Baggott extension taken. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, we were umming and ahhing whether or not he'd got that, because when you talk about pecking orders, and we've spoken about it here, haven't we, tonight? You're talking O'Shea and Greaves probably is your starting 2, and 2 behind that's probably Burgess and Wolford, and then sitting there in 5th is Elkan Baggott. So it does, and we said this in the show, didn't we, when we were talking about ins and outs and stuff and who you were keeping. I don't really see Baggott as having a future at Town, because again, as you always say, Martin, the development of the club has gone beyond the skill level of the player, really, which is why they sent him off to League One with Blackpool. I don't think he's ever really going to get a look in, I don't think, unless there would be injuries and stuff. So it makes sense to sell him. And then you sort of say to yourself, how much would you actually garner in a fee? What did we come up with? 100 grand? 200 max, maybe?
Yeah,
actually justify any more.
And at what point do you stop being classed as a young player? Because he's 22 years of age now.
Yeah. He's still I mean, he's still young, I think.
But when I hear the term, "I've got a young player coming through," I'm thinking my mind immediately gets taken to an 18-year-old out of the academy, a 19-year-old,
yeah, I do
20-year-old, maybe that 18 to 20 bracket. Whereas
Muric was a young keeper, wasn't he? Apparently, according to McKenna, wasn't it? Muric, young keeper, 27.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
You've got to think where Elkan would go, right? I mean, he's been on loan at, where'd he go? Gillingham. He's been at Cheltenham. He's been at Blackpool. You've got to think he'd probably go into League One. And what's a League One club going to pay for a kid who's not really had much experience in the divisions above? You're probably looking low hundreds, 100, 200 max, I would have thought, is what I'm, if you're going to garner a fee. And certainly I think they'll give him a contract in order to just try and make some money on him. But, hopefully this scenario will start changing once we've got this Academy 1 status and you start getting a bit more of a conveyor belt over the next few seasons where kids actually are coming through the academy and actually, like a Wolfenden, and actually staking a claim in the first team. It's been few and far between, really, isn't it? Thanks to the Evans era, I think. I mean, they had aspirations to get Academy 1, didn't they? I remember when Milts was in charge, they missed out by like 0.5% or something, and then it kind of, the dream just died after that, didn't it? Which was kind of like indicative of Evans' ownership, really. Spent a load of money on Keane, don't get to the Premier League, we tread water. Same scenario for the academy, I think. So we'll see. But hopefully that'll be the future pathway anyway. Kids will come through and into the team. That's what we want to see.
Let me just sort of add some more meat onto the bone of what I was saying when he's a young player, start becoming a young player. He's 22 years of age. So for me, the conversation now is his best years are still well ahead of him. He's not even entering the start of any peak years of his career, but it's now a conversation, or it's got to be a conversation surely, between what's his ceiling and what's his floor. Where is this player kind of going to end up developing into? Is it going to be, is his ceiling middle tier championship, bottom half championship? Very much like Luke Wolfenden. You get the sense where, like we said a couple of weeks ago, we're kind of reaching top half championship, bottom half Premier League. That's kind of where perhaps Wolfie, unless he develops dramatically further, he's going to sort of, that's where his level is going to be. Whereas
I think Baggott can probably look at Burgess as inspiration. Like we said earlier, like 6, 7, 8 clubs before he even lands at town. A
late developer, then.
Yeah, and we said he wasn't probably even good. Well, probably I said, and Crunch maybe. He's in the chat at the moment. We said maybe he wouldn't even go from League One into the Championship. Look at him now. I'm talking about him. Could have been a possible player of the year in the Premier League for us. So you never know, do you? You never really know. But I mean, for his own sake, he needs to go and play games and put down roots. And I don't think you can ever really do that as a lone player, because you're always, you're always thinking about how you can develop at your parent club. We saw it with Corey and Darber, and in the end, he takes the jump and goes to Kilmarnock and actually done pretty well there, hasn't he? Albeit a small fish in Scotland, but. Hopefully Baggott can go off and do something similar, get roots, see what Burgess has done. Look, he's already a huge name in Indonesia, so he ain't got to worry about profile, has he? You just want to be playing games and, I don't know, maybe captain a side in League 1, 2 or whatever, and see if you can develop through like Burgess has done. That'd be the pathway for him, I think.
Yep. All right. Let me talk to you about something really important. If you want to help save lives and have the chance to win £1,000 every week, play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery. By playing from just £1 each week, you're helping to get their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners every week, with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T&Cs apply, but please, whatever you do, gamble responsibly. Can you tell my throat is playing up again? Can you tell that?
Yeah, it's a good job it's the summer. Not so many shows, you can rest it.
Good job it's the summer. Not so many shows. Oh wait, look at the championship fixture list. 403 games next year.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the transfer shows will come thick and fast as well. So we'll just have to buy some tunes, Martin. Lozenges.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't have them at the moment, but yes, we can hopefully buy. Is it the little tunes that come in a square packets?
Yeah, that's it. I think it was them when it was at them. Yeah, something like that. Not like honey and lemon normally, aren't they? Blackcurrant, various flavors.
I have fishermen's friends or Jackermans. Jackermans are good. What's
the Jackerman? That's not a fisherman's friend. That's a different brand altogether, is it?
I have to go look at my packet in the.
Yeah, I've not heard of it before.
You can get it from any shop, but I normally get it from B&M. When I'm in there, going in there for one particular thing, and then walk out, with a chainsaw, a hand drill, Sand.
Yeah.
I'm not actually going to use any of this stuff, but you're just walking out with things you didn't know you needed.
Your thing for the flan at Christmas.
Yes, thank you very
Flan
much.
tray. That was it. People who've watched Talking Town for a considerable time will know what we're talking about there.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Liam Delap, he hasn't gone.
Still not gone? Where's Fabrizio? What's he doing? Here we go.
Busy.
We're waiting
Here we
for him. Yeah.
But it's all gone quiet. So we're going to end the show with
He's
our...
staying. He's staying. This is good. No, he's not. He's not.
Don't tease people like that. Don't. Because people, some people, people might get their hopes up. And, they'll say, that Matt from Talking Town told me he was staying.
I mean, it could be tonight. It could be tomorrow morning. Who knows? I mean, look, Ipswich have announced plays at 10 o'clock at night. In actual fact, going back to Marcus Harness, didn't he get announced like half 10, 11 in the evening or something daft, wasn't it?
Yeah. Note to the admin this year: don't do that to me. Anything past half 9, just shelve it to the next day. Kindly appreciate you.
Trevor Amos has said they're called Jakeman's lozenges.
Jakeman's.
Just going back to the lozenge chat. We do this on Talking Town.
We do. We go around the houses. Right. Yeah. Liam Delap, I want your favourite 3 goals from Liam Delap as a passing gift. And that's the last time we're going to talk about him until we say he's gone. As in there, and then that will literally be the sentence I give you. Liam Delap's gone.
And he's been replaced by Latty Laff. Please God. Delap, yeah. I mean, 37 appearances, wasn't it? 12 goals, 2 assists. I worked out on average he played 70 minutes, Martin. Never completed games, did he, for us, given that he is a young player, going on what you were saying earlier. But yeah, I've put my top 3 goals together. I mean, whether or not you all agree with them, I don't know. But in third, I've got his second goal, the equalising goal on Sunday, the 29th of September against Villa, the 2-2. I mean, this August and September, he was kind of arrived, didn't he, for us in terms of what he could do. And you'll see that in the second goal I mentioned in a second. But Jack Taylor, edge of the box, plays the ball out to Amari. Delap broke down the left, takes it down on that left flank, cuts in, sends that Diego Carlos, the Brazilian, one way, then the other, and then hits that shot across World Cup winning goalkeeper Martinez and then he came running over to where we were, blowing kisses by the corner flag. And I just thought that was a tremendous goal. We were very unlucky not to win that game, weren't we? I mean, he had another chance in the first half, I think, because he got the first goal in that game as well. And then we went 2-1 down, didn't we? And then we almost get it back to 2-2. Martinez makes a really good save. There was a break right at the end where I think it was Amari plays Wes in for a shot, which was well saved by the keeper. I mean, such fine lines, isn't it? So that's me. That's in third place. That was brilliant, just because he came also celebrated in front of us. Then the one that kind of signalled his arrival, wasn't it? Was August the 31st, a Saturday, Fulham, the opening goal. Leif Davis gets the ball in that left back spot, doesn't he? Really fantastic run that we'd seen in the Championship, crosses the halfway line, gives it to Delap, and then he goes on a bit of a run for 20 yards, holds off that Pereira, the number 18, and then just unleashes this shot, doesn't it? Where I sit in the Pioneer, you could see that was going in. And Leno does get the old right hand to it, but fantastic. Again, had that been opening day of the season and not Liverpool, we might have gone on with the momentum of the crowd and everything, and the momentum of the Championship promotion might have gone on and won that. So I thought that was tremendous. And it will come as no surprise to anyone that my number 1 favourite goal was obviously the Bournemouth one in the 2-1 win. 7 town players, Martin, involved in this. So it starts with Palmer, goal kick. He sends it right to O'Shea, edge of the box to Morsey. Broadhead comes in. Under pressure, Morsey plays it to him. Square ball from Broadhead to Cahuste. Then one of my favourite passes of the season, sends it long to Delap. He holds the ball up as he goes towards the box. Townsend sprinting like Usain Bolt down the left-hand side. Plays him in, byline, squares it. And then Delap literally does, doesn't he? Lifts the net off its base to score what turns out to be the winning goal, doesn't it? I mean, it sends us 2-0 up and we end up winning 2-1. I just thought that was a tremendous goal, tremendous team goal. McKenna said it come off the training ground, 7 players involved. Anything that nearly breaks the net is all good in my book. So, and this is why he's garnering a 30 million fee and why Chelsea want him, right?
Well, this is it. Yeah, this is it. They're all good goals. I mean, you could really, obviously, penalties. There are good penalties. But if you took the penalties out, any number of the goals away from the penalties is what you could really put in. And I've gone for 2. I haven't gone for 3. I've just gone for 2, just to counteract the 3 you've gone for. And I don't know if I've gone from because they're great goals or if they're moments. So I look back in the season and they were, so the first one, for example, is West Ham away. Now we get beat 4-1 in that game Okay,
You're claiming this as a corner goal, aren't you?
I am claiming. Well, it's a corner goal. It comes from a corner, so it's a goal
It
from
does.
a
It does.
corner,
Yes,
right?
it does.
So
Yeah.
first of all, it's a goal from a set piece. They stick long in the memory this year, believe me.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
new here. I just jump back several shows, and you'll hear me every
Yeah.
week. And second of all, it was an equaliser in a game against a side that was struggling. Now, obviously, they go on to win the game 4-1 and really, blew us away. But it was an equaliser in a game that we all thought going in we could potentially get something out of. No, we didn't. But at that moment in time, the feeling of we're back in the game after a poor start, Calvin Phillips giving the ball away inside a minute. And it's also a really good finish. He wins the ball, cuts inside, and the keeper gets a really strong hand to it. But the power is just.
It's the game after that Villa one, isn't it? So we were kind of buoyant, weren't we? Thinking we should have beaten Villa.
Yeah.
And then we'll get off to the worst case.
So living in that world, it sticks in your mind. And my second one is Villa away in a game where it's a really good striker's goal. It's his movement across the centre half. It's the importance of the goal again. It's that moment where you get a point on the road, having been a man down, and you think, okay, maybe we can start to have a bit of a fight and a say in this battle. Now, of course, like the West Ham game, that wasn't to be. But looking at those moments, they're moments as a fan that you thought, oh, could it be? And it wasn't.
Well, we took the lead, like you say. We take the lead in that Villa Park, don't we? With 10 men. It's a great header, isn't it? Diving header, and he goes and does in the rain, does that kind of what do you call it? On his stomach in front of the town fans, a celebration. Yeah, something like that. Sort of almost Chef Kikuchi vibes, isn't it? It's just a shame we couldn't hold on really. But I mean, look, Alex Palmer was immense in that game. And of course, as Hamish rightly says there, the goal against Brentford, he comes off the bench, doesn't he? Surprisingly, George Hurst starts that game, doesn't he? Scores, and then Delap comes off the bench, and we thought we'd stolen a point there.
And Tractor Boy underneath him says the same thing. The Brighton counter attack is a powerful individual run, inches away from the goal season contender. Yeah. And of course, it would have made that a performance from Ipswich in that game even more amazing. Because he would have taken
that game.
1-0 win, 3 points. Keepers kept you in it, and your new centre forwards won it right at the death. And it wasn't either way. But
not so great. Look, in a disappointing season, Delap obviously there, as you can see, we're waxing lyrical about some great moments, and he was pretty much central to all of them. So
one of the bright sparks, wasn't he? One of the bright sparks.
Yeah, I mean, where would we have been without him? Like Southampton at the foot of the table and struggling to get into double digits, I would have thought, points wise, given how toothless we were really across the season. I mean, we don't even get anywhere near what Luton scored, having spent all that much more money. But let's wish Liam. Let's wish Liam.
We are with him, which is relegated.
Well, yeah, we still got relegated. I just think
more clueless and out of touch.
Yeah, exactly. But let's wish him every success. We've got to. Who knows what his ceiling's going to be? I mean, right at the top of the season, when Danny Murphy said, "Could this be the next Harry Kane in terms of, an England player?" And let's hope he is, and we can fondly remember him for albeit a disappointing season for Ipswich. At least he wore our shirt and gave us some great goals, some great moments to cheer about.
Agreed. All right, there we go. We're done. Don't forget, Stowmarket Osteopaths. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call. He's the governor there. 01449 613 633. That's Stowmarket Osteopaths. I know a few Talking Town viewers already go and see him and speak highly of him. I myself go. That's Stowmarket Osteopaths for osteopath and physiotherapy. 01449 613 633. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All of that. If you've enjoyed today's show, which I hope you have, obviously. If you haven't, well, come back next time. It won't get any better. But just come back. I'm not going to promise things we can't deliver, Matthew.
No. Well, I think we've got a very good show lined up Friday, haven't we? We're going to go through the midfield and strikers. If you've not seen the goalkeeper defenders one, it follow the same format. Head over to the channel, check it out, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah.
If the lozenges chat didn't get you, then Talking Town, nothing is.
There's a bit of a chat about Norwood. He scored. Oldham obviously got beat Southend at the weekend. Norwood scored a very good goal in that game. Come off the bench, threw on with the keeper, lovely touch around the keeper and scored. So good to see him still doing stuff.
Really all right, as you've brought one more topic up, I'll get your thoughts. Ryan Manning officially sort of announced as
Liam Manning.
Not Ryan Manning. Liam Manning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Announced as Norwich City manager. That's how much interest I'm paying in the situation.
His name wrong.
I know it's a Manning. What are your thoughts on it? I haven't got any. It's just
exactly what you said at the time when we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago when it was first floated. It just seems a bit of a sideways move to me. Neither club have got parachute payments to to kind of boost the coffers a little bit. So he knows he's going to have to sell players there. And we've done a great job at Bristol City in difficult circumstances. So fair play to him. But, they got 6th on 68 points, I think. In the season we went up in the Championship, that would have got you mid-table, 9th or 10th. So I think it was a much weaker division last season. But, he'll be going toe-to-toe with McKenna. We'll wait and see. But I certainly don't see Norwich competing for top 6. I mean, let's wait and see. But I think it's difficult when you're in that mix of clubs that haven't got the parachute payment money.
Yeah, it's a shame because he always comes across as a nice guy, and
he does,
somebody you want to root for. And well, now I can't.
I always thought he may be, if McKenna does leave, he might be in, and we were down back in the Football League, he might have been in the mix for us. But we'll wait and see. But
Norwich, you can't even root for him for for 44 other games, can you? Like, you
no.
can't, yeah,
exactly. But I mean, they've got a good coach, but they're not in you. They've got an outside chance of top 6, maybe. But I mean,
everyone has in this division, Matt. Everyone.
Exactly. And you saw in the playoffs that Bristol City were nowhere near Sheffield United. Got beaten 3-0 in both legs. All right, they went down to 10 men in one of them. But that shows you the gap coming down from the Premier League in Sheffield United against a team that's not in the parachute payment, sneaks into 6 in the playoffs. They couldn't live with them. We'll be in the Sheffield United space. Hopefully our season won't finish like Sheffield United. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. It's interesting though, isn't it, to see what he can do there. All jokes aside, what he can do there, because the year before last they were beaten quite comfortably in the playoffs by Leeds, and obviously Leeds last year they went on and along with Burnley blew the division away, and this year they were worse than the year before. Perhaps you could say manager, perhaps you can say they're regenerating their squad. They were getting younger, they were going through a rebuild process. I just think, like a lot of clubs without parachute payments, we've been one of them for many years in the Championship. It's going to be their recruitment's going to have to be really spot on, because you're going to lose a couple of your key assets. Sargent probably being first one.
Just stands the other one. Yeah.
So you lose those two.
They'll get good money. So how do you recycle that back into your team?
I've seen it's got Twine linked for $2.5 million. How credible that is, I don't know. But
you MK Dons, didn't they know each other? Yeah.
It's going to have to, it'll be how well they recruit, having lost, their better players, and they're going to
be a level below. They'll be a level below us, 100%.
I hope so. If not,
they're going to be a level below.
If not, it's gone catastrophically wrong for us, or amazingly right for them.
Yeah.
But look,
they've got American ownership. Will they put more money in? We'll have to wait and see. But we're in a much better space. Every single Norwich City fan would love to be in Ipswich space right now, coming down with the Premier League money. Players being sold for big dough. The pride of Anglia is back on top, blue and white right now.
Colin says Hogg and Burley at the dinner table will be interesting. It's football, isn't it? Yeah. Burley obviously didn't exclusively manage Ipswich Town, for example. I know he didn't manage Norwich, but it's football, right? You go where the ambition is. You go where you're going to realise your dreams effectively. And
George is still don't be fooled by that. George is blue and white to the core. He's still going to be cheering us. He just happens to have a family member who's going to be there as well. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're done with Dusted. That man's Matt Phillips. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. We're back again on Friday as we dive into our midfielders and strikers, who stays, who goes. Join us, and Mark Tuxford will be with us as well to give us his thoughts on the squad and who he would like to see leave the football club and who he would like to retain. But until then, take care. God bless. All the best. Bye.